loves, it's your girl April. So today's video is of course another hair video, and this one is by Bestlacewigs.com. First of all, I've worked with them many times, and this was on my prior channel, so I haven't done anything for them in the past couple of years. However, I will tell you this time, they contacted me and asked me if I would like to do their kinky straight or yaki kinky straight bundle hair. Now, first of all, I did actually make a wig using their bundle hair about 3 years ago, and I still have it. Still love it. It was their yaki straight. The hair was like absolutely like butter. It took well to bleach. Melted into the bleach. And that's a good thing when I'm telling you that. Like, it didn't catch on fire. So anyway, this time around I got some kinky straight. And it comes in these boxes, which are new to me. So these are the big red hair extension boxes. I did get a brush with that as well. And I'm going to say something. These are like the really good paddle brushes. They're not the cheap ones that just fall apart. 3 bundles of their kinky straight, 2 22s and a 20 and a 14-inch closure. Now, their hair is really affordable. They do have wigs as well, if you guys are interested in that. Clip-ins, extensions, etc, etc. To be kinky straight, you can see that it is kind of full. However, I'm going to be honest and say that the texture is kind of in between silky and like a light yaki. It does have like the crimps in it or what have you. However, I will give them this. The hair texture is really, really pretty. So each person has their own version of kinky hair. However, kinky hair is more coarser to me, and this is more or less kind of like a silky texture with like crimps in it. But we're gonna see how this works out. This is probably gonna look really pretty once created. It is a double wefted. The beards on it is really decent. So this is the 22-inch, and all of the bundles look exactly the same. They're identical to this one here. The ends look healthy, so they're not all thin. They get a little bit thin at the very tip, but nothing like major. One of my favorite lace closures, you girls know that I love it to be the reinforced sides, like the heavy duty sides. So this is it right here. This closure is actually a 4x4-inch closure, so it's like the standard size closure, not a lace frontal, but the standard size closure. And like some of the knots, I just noticed like there are a couple right around in this area here that probably could be a little tiny tweeze, but other than that, the rest of the knots, because I have it through the light, they look decent. It's just a couple in the middle that, you know, just could be tweezed a little bit. I'm just gonna make this on a regular, you know, like cap wig. Just stay tuned for the video and we'll take it from there. Okay, divas, so I'm done with the Bestlacewigs wefting hair or weaving hair, which is their kinky straight. And like I said, it is kind of like a silky texture. I washed it after I created it, and it did come back still crimpy, but the ends needed a little bit of flat ironing, so I did flat iron them. But however, I will tell you this, it doesn't seem to get straight. It doesn't stay kinky. It's more or less to me like a light yaki texture. So it isn't silky straight and it isn't like kinky, but it's more or less like a light yaki texture. Now, for one, I will tell you about this wig. It did have a smell to it, kind of like a chemical smell, so I did have to wash it thoroughly. But the one thing about this unit, it took me like 2.5 hours to create this one. Normally, it takes me a lot longer, like 5 to 6 hours, because I like really thread the heck out of my units. But for some reason this time I went super fast and I was done in like 2.5 hours. So I was really thrilled about that. It curved left part on this unit, and I did tweeze it a tiny bit because the knots, like I stated in the beginning, I did see a little bit of them, but because the hair is so thick, and it would have been a little bit, well, it would not have been as noticeable as I would have liked it to be. So with that being said, it's always created on a mesh dome stretch cat. No combs this time because I ran out, but I do have them now, so I will be putting this in later on. But I just wanted to keep her straight because when I get kinky hair, especially when it's kinky straight, I love for it to be straight. Sometimes I will put a curl into it. So in some portions of it, it looks a little bit more crimped than others, especially in the nape areas. 3 full bundles. At the end, because I do like to sew my tracks pretty close, at the end, probably about, there was probably like a quarter of it left. I did have to split the tracks in half. So the only thing that I want to do now is I'm going to put some concealer on this so that I can make it look like it's my scalp. You know, a little scalpage. There's nothing wrong with a little scalpage. Put the concealer on the inner side, as well as that, as I do the outside as well, because I just... Alright, love, so let's get this thing going. Now, I already have a little bit of my hair left out for my leave out. I'm not going to use all this hair that I have out, but I just leave it out just in case. So, creating the wig was so easy. Like, I cannot believe I did this in like 2.5 hours. It was super easy. I don't know what I did different, but it just, the time was just a lot quicker. And I think it has a lot to do with the hair texture and the hair itself. It was really easy to work with. So that's one thing. There weren't any flyaways or just hair tangling or getting through thread. The hair was super easy to work with. And you know, the standard method, my topic keratin fibers along with my concealer, just to rub that into my scalp and hairline to make it look seamless. Along with that, the topic keratin hair filler fibers actually fills out my hairline and makes it look so realistic. So one of my new top favorite hair glazes is the Ebin New York, which I do have a video on already on YouTube, which you can check out. This glaze is like superior to all glazes, and all I'm going to do is just glaze a little bit of my edges down and then brush them into the units. Okay, so I really do like this one, despite the fact that it doesn't stay as crimpy as I would like it, but it's more or less kind of, like I said, a yaki texture, like a light yaki texture. So if you're up for that, then I say get the hair. Bestlacewigs does have some really great hair. Like I said, I made a unit with their hair like some years ago. This was when I was living in New York still. So the wig is probably like 3.5 years old now, and I still wear it. It's their yaki texture. It's a beautiful hair. It never gives me any problem, and the good thing about their hair, it never tangles on me. And I'm not sure if it's because of the texture, but their wig never tangles on me. It doesn't give me any problem. So this did shed as I was brushing it out, meaning as I was washing it. When I was creating it, it was like butter, smooth sailing, didn't give me any issues, didn't tangle, didn't shed. The only shedding came from when I was actually brushing the conditioner through. And maybe I'm a little rough, but I just really need to make sure that this conditioner gets through any type of hair. But yes, Bestlacewigs. Now, I will suggest if you're going to get a sew-in, wash the hair before you put it in your head, because I did notice like a smell. It kind of smelled like a chemical smell, maybe more or less, kind of like, it doesn't smell like that anymore, thank goodness, but it was kind of like a chemical smell. It would probably remind me kind of like, I want to say like corn chips, but not as potent as corn chips, but somewhere in that range. So once I washed the hair and I let the conditioner sit in it for like 20 minutes, just regular Cream of Nature Eden conditioner, nothing expensive. And the smell came out, the hair just snapped back, became crinkly like this, and it dried. I let it air dry overnight, and that was basically it. So this is 3 full bundles and very full hair. So you really don't need a lot unless you're a close track sewer like me. Then make sure that you split the track in half when you get up to the top. I do like it a little bit thinner on the top, especially up here, because I don't want it so bulky. Towards the back is fine. That's where all my tracks are mainly sewn closer. So when I have to thin out the tracks and split them, it's fine because it's right here where the closure is at, and I want it to lay as flat as possible. So for 22 inches, this is where she lands, and this is what the ends look like. So the ends aren't bad. I didn't trim them or anything. I just flat ironed them to kind of like straighten them out some. And like I said, it did get a little bit straighter at the ends. So I tried to steer away from the actual top portion because I wanted it to stay as kinky and, you know, just kind of like coarse as possible. But my favorite type of hair is like the kinky straight, the yaki straight. I just prefer that hair opposed to silky straight, like Brazilian virgin. That hair is nice too, but when you worn it so many times, you want something that looks so much more like an African American texture. Than that, I will post all the information below for Bestlacewigs website. They do sell wigs, wefting hair, clipping hair, you know, closures. I do love their wefting hair a lot. This is the second go round. And as well, if you're interested in a unit made, or to get a custom unit made, or video units that are already available for sale on my website, you can always check out gonewiththewindwigs.weebly.com, and I'll post that information for you guys in the information box below. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe, and as always, stay diva and divolicious, and I'll see you guys on my next video.